morning. It's This Week in Wellness. It's Monday. We're having a good time here this morning already. I had a couple workouts. Had some good time with some folks coming in this morning. Anyway, this is about you. This is your time. I don't want to take up too much out this morning. So it's This Week in Wellness. We're going to flip the script on This Week in Wellness just a little bit. We've been talking about PHS a little bit, and then community events, and then a little tidbit about how you can get yourself going and keep yourself going in the mode of wellness and quality of life and having the best life that you can have, and the life you desire and that you deserve. So we're going to flip the script a little bit. We're going to start out by talking about some really important things. We're going to carry on the conversation on discovering personal freedom and what that means. There's three concepts here we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about internal stability and how your knowledge of yourself and figuring out what is the reasonable actions for you, how that contributes to that internal stability, and how that contributes to the concept of personal freedom. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can get involved in the greater community in terms of wellness, the opportunities that you have to step outside your door, step outside of our door even, and get involved in your community, have a good time, whatever it is that you're trying to do there. A lot of opportunities out in your community. And then we're going to talk about how you can get involved in your community here. Things here at Peterson Holistic Services that are going on that we're always really excited about. We're always really excited to share with you. And we hope that you have an opportunity to try some things out and discover some things here as well. All right, so getting right to it. Today, we're going to talk about internal stability. So that's kind of the overarching theme today. So what does that mean? We hear a lot about stability in your job, stability in your home, in your schedule. So a lot of external things, external factors trying to line things up and stabilize and get things kind of on an even keel, a regular schedule. And that's kind of hard to manage, isn't it? Because it usually involves other people. It usually involves people outside of yourself, right? So, internal stability. That is really lining your own self up. Or really lining up with yourself. And really bringing things home. So internal stability to me is knowing yourself in such a way and on such a level that you begin to trust yourself and your responses to daily stressors. That's just kind of the synopsis of it. So it really is trusting yourself and your ability to respond to things that come your way. Because like we said, that stability in your external life is tricky. Because it involves other people, it involves many other factors. So you have those daily stressors, you have those things that change in your life. How can you deal with that? How can you adapt and respond instead of reacting and having the whole thing blow up on you, right? Because a lot of times that's what happens. We get frazzled, it takes us out of our regular mode, and we just get unsteady. So how do you find that steadiness and that stability within you to know and to trust that you can respond in a positive way? And in a way where you'll come out feeling okay. You'll feel good about the way you responded to it. You'll feel good about what you contributed to the situation. And that really is right there is internal stability. And that starts with a little knowledge of yourself. So we talked about last week, we talked about perspective and compassion. So knowing where you're coming from on things and how you feel about them. And if you didn't hear that one, I'd encourage you to go back, fast forward through all the other stuff. Usually about the last 10 minutes of those first two videos is the good tidbits. So go to that last 10 minutes and listen in on about perspective and compassion, about where you're coming from and how to say it's okay to start from here. And then moving on from those concepts, we talk about knowledge of self. We talk about creating what I call personal inventories. And those are inventories of the skills, traits, and abilities that you possess right now. It's not anything that you have to go searching for or learn about or get tips on or verification on even, because they are yours. They are there from your past experience, from the challenges that you faced before, the successes that you've had, those personal skills, traits, and abilities. Now, what are skills? Skills are your learned things that you've picked up over time, right? Either your education or your work skills, or just things that you've tried out, the hobbies that you've done, things you've gotten really good at. Those are your skills. Your traits are the learned things from your community, from your family. You may call them hereditary, you may call them environmental. Those traits that are really kind of your outward personality. How you communicate with people are a lot about your traits. It's about how you communicate with people, how you interact with the world around you. And your abilities are some of those things that just maybe come naturally to you. So those skills, traits, and abilities that you possess, that you have found success with, and that you feel comfortable with, that you feel comfortable putting out there into the world, and that you know that if you use those skills, traits, and abilities toward any situation, and you really can, you can mold those skills, traits, and abilities, those internal resources, we'll shorten that up and we'll call them internal resources. You can use your internal resources to help you meet any challenge. And that's help you meet any challenge and contribute what you can. Because you don't have to solve the whole problem, but maybe you can contribute to a more positive outcome, right? Good. All right. So that's your knowledge of self. That's those personal inventories. You're looking at your internal resources. And then also, it's good to know where your limits are at. Every time you'll learn, what else do I need? And if you find that you want to go further with something, or you know that you could contribute more the next time, you not have only learned from that situation, but you've learned what else you would like to add on to those internal resources. So you look at those external resources then, and see what advice you need. Go seek some advice. Talk it over with some friends or a counselor or a lifestyle wellness coach. Come see us. We'll talk it through, help you take those personal inventories and really understand what it is that you're needing moving forward for yourself to feel good about how you can respond to these situations that you find yourself in. So it's good to know both your internal and then start to see the external resources that can help you grow in the ways that you want to grow. So that's that knowledge of self, those inventories. And I challenge you this week to really write down what you feel like are your internal resources. What are the traits, skills, and abilities that you use most often in situations where you feel good about how you interacted with it? You may not feel the greatest about the overall outcome, but you know that you put in your best effort, that you gave the most that you could to that situation to help it be positive. And now, once you've looked at those personal inventories, once you have that knowledge of self, then it really leads right into reasonable action. It's pretty easy to see what are the things that you're comfortable with. Once you look at what you're comfortable with, how you're seeing it, so you look at those perspective, how you're seeing it, you look at the compassion piece, you have taken your personal inventories, and then it's time for action. And the beauty of it is, if you take the time on your own to look at the perspective, compassion, and take those inventories, then you don't have to do it every time you find yourself in a situation. You can just instinctively know, or more instinctively, know how you can interact in a positive way. You can look at it with a clearer mindset, a clearer head, and not be so reactive, not let it throw you off so much, because you are centered and you are grounded in yourself. You're not thinking about how other people think you should react to this thing. You're thinking about, and you know how you can respond, right? So that's that reasonable action piece. So it becomes kind of a quicker deal, but it also is a process to start out with, that you can go through that process to think about, forecast. These are the situations that I find myself in most often, and now here's a potential reasonable action that I can start doing today. I don't have to know anything more or learn anything more, practice anything more. I can start doing those today. That's your reasonable actions. So 2 things I want you to take a look at this week, and you can share them on our page, in the comments. I encourage you to interact because if you share, somebody out there probably has the same question or the same concern that you do, and you can learn from each other. Find solace in that you're not by yourself. And we're here to tell you that you are welcome to express yourself on our page, on our posts, and be a part of this. We really encourage that. So today we've talked about internal stability, about knowing yourself on a level and finding that trust in yourself through self-knowledge and understanding how you can interact with those situations. So diving into that reasonable action. And if you need any help on those concepts, please reach out. All it takes is 30 minutes to sit down for a discovery session and get an idea of where you're at, where you're wanting to go, and whether or not we're a good fit to help you, or if you've got everything that you need to just get it started. And that's awesome. We love those situations where people come in 30 minutes, no commitment, and they understand that they really have everything they need to get it started. So, in that same sense, being a part of a community is a great thing. And especially here in the Des Moines Metro, I really love the Des Moines Metro because there's so much activity here, so much vitality, so much growth here in the Des Moines Metro. And if you're not watching this in the Metro, I hope you find yourself in a place where you can interact. And the tips I'm going to give today are probably almost universal, because most places have a Parks and Recreation department. Most communities have some sort of Parks and Recreation or library or downtown park or groups that put on events. And how do you find those things? And I know in our area, the Parks and Recreation departments in every community in the Metro really tries to put themselves out there and give you some great opportunities for diversity and engagement in different types of sports and activities, and even crafts and things like that. Bird watching. Let me list the types of things I was looking at. All the Parks and Recs department. I looked at Des Moines Parks and Rec. I've had some good conversations with the Urbandale Parks and Rec folks. I got a shout out to Jan Herricky. Had a great conversation with her. She has some awesome programs going this summer. We're excited about this fall, perhaps being a part of the Parks and Rec programming. We're really excited about that. We'll keep in touch with Jan. So the things I saw when I was looking at the Parks and Recs department were anything from bird watching groups, bag throwing groups. So those bags, the tailgate bags. There's bag tournaments they're putting on out at the parks. There's pickleball. There's volleyball. There's Tai Chi, yoga, workouts out at the park. So type in Parks and Recreation for any community that you live in. So for here in this area, in this immediate area, Parks and Recreation Urbandale, and their website will pop right up. They're part of the city. The cities always have a great website. That's what they do. They're there to let people know what's going on in the community and how they can engage. So the Parks and Recreation departments are a great way to get yourself involved. Go meet some new people. Bring a friend. You and a friend can get in there and be a part of another group of people and meet some people you haven't met. If you do that in the Parks and Recreation department in your community, chances are you'll probably meet some people just down the street from you that you didn't even know were there. So that's kind of the cool part, really growing that community and getting to know each other and see who else has an interest in pickleball. I've never played pickleball. It'd be kind of fun. So maybe you'll see me out there one of these times playing pickleball at Des Moines Park and Rec. So anyway, that's your external community. That's the community out there. Get involved. I encourage you, even if you don't get involved in the Parks and Rec stuff, get out on the trails, get out in the parks. We have some great hiking opportunities where it's the ledges. There's some Makokata Caves down there. My kids and I really loved those. So just get out there. I know it's been kind of rainy here lately, but that brings on some sunshine, some greenery, all the wonderful things that we love to see in the growing season here in the Midwest, here in Iowa. So don't be afraid to look those things up. And now for our community here. There's some great ways here that you can get involved with our community. And there's a couple ways that you can get started. And if you've been following our Facebook page, you might have seen those. If you are on our networks, or if you're on our mailing list, then you might have seen it. Let us know if you want to get on our mailing list so you can keep up with these things. But what we're calling it is a Lifestyle Wellness 30-Day Discovery Boot Camp. And what that involves, there's a lot there. What it really involves is you taking the time to discover how you're going to be well. Discover how to get started and the things that you have to get started. It really is going through that checklist, going through those steps of personal freedom, like we've talked about, and taking even it a step further and putting some things into action. We have some opportunities here for you to sit in a group and share what your goals are, what your challenges are, and hear from other people. Again, it's so great to get it together with other people and see what other people are thinking. It helps inspire you and get to know how you can push yourself a little bit. Gives you some perspectives that maybe you haven't even thought of. So it helps make those connections to people that are looking to grow and are growth-minded and wellness-minded, and to be part of that community, be part of this community. It also involves full access to all of our classes and workshops, well, classes and services, things like that. So you can, 15-minute free massage is involved with that. All of our movement classes, our fitness classes, Qigong classes, yoga classes, all involved in that. So you have that chance to explore where you're at and what would work well for you in the realm of fitness. You have the opportunity to sit down with myself and my partner Joy to, if you hear that, that's her calling right now. She must have known I was going to mention her name. So you have an opportunity to sit down with myself and my partner Joy and really have that 30 minutes to dive in to your own personal process and see where you're coming from and where you want to go and how you can get the most out of this program, this 30-day discovery program. So look it up, look us up, follow our Facebook page, and if you're seeing this on our Facebook page, I do want you to know that I'm uploading this to a page of its own. So the page is called This Week in Wellness. So This Week in Wellness, you can follow that. You can find all the episodes there. If you've missed something or if you want to look back at those other episodes, you don't have to flip through our Facebook page. I want to make it real easy for you to access some of these resources as well. So it all is about access to resources, and we love to be one of your resources. So look up that page as well, so that This Week in Wellness, and I know we've gone on quite a bit, and so we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you have a great week. Take care.